Hello and welcome to an absolutely amazing Gags Tandon show today. Not only are we back to winning ways in the Premier League, we are joined for the first time by my very, very, very good friend. In fact, he's my brother from another mother, Armando Angulo. I don't know if I said that perfectly, but
That might be the best you've ever said it, honestly.
welcome to YouTube, Mando, for the first time.
Thank you. Yeah, this is my first time on YouTube for in any capacity, honestly.
Yeah. Wow, it's great to have you back on AI in some form or another. How are you feeling after that goal fest, dude? Like that is an incredible game.
I mean, it's good to be top, right? I mean, it's good to be top. It's good to get the result, and then for Chelsea to drop some points today, we needed that as well. They've been collecting them pretty thick and fast, so that's good. Have a game in hand. All is good, honestly. It got a little bit sloppy towards the end, but I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were firing on all cylinders. We had 6 goals, could have easily had more. It's just, it was a good day. It was a good day for Arne and the Reds.
Mr. Branch is not watching. He's on the road, so he's listening. We appreciate you listening, Cam. Thank you very much. And as always, folks, please like and subscribe on the channel. We would really appreciate your help. Um, Mando, I mean, as you just mentioned, we're top of the league, 4 points clear, um, and we have a game in hand. That's guaranteed to be top at Christmas. Feels pretty damn good, right?
Yeah, I think I mean, obviously, it feels great. This is where we all want to be, where every team in the league wants to be. I think it's just even feels better because I don't think at the beginning of the year anybody would have expected us to be here in this position. You know, after Klopp leaving and then Arne coming in and changing styles just a little bit and putting his stamp on the team and everybody kind of buying in and everybody uh, doing their part. Honestly, defensive work has been improved substantially. Everybody's tracking back. It seems like we have control of the ball. Even in attack, we have 4 or 5 players breaking the lines and making the runs, but still we have 5 players behind the ball and in good position, keeping their shape. It's all a little bit foreign. We're so accustomed to Klopp and just heavy metal all the time. Pedal to the metal. This is a little bit more composed, a little bit more strategic, a little bit more thought out, and yeah, I think it suits us. It suits the players. It's in them adapting as quickly as they have. It's just been great, and if you would have told me at the end of last season that, hey, going into the next season, we're going to be top at Christmas, 4 points ahead with a game in hand, I would have called you a liar. I wouldn't have expected it. And I don't think many of us would have, honestly.
Well, I totally agree with you, and I think I've echoed those sentiments previously on the show. Marco Lopez here saying, "Evening Gags and Mando, great to see you, amigo." And by the way, Marco will join us on the Gags Tandon show in the future. We're just trying to get a date and time, and which game Marco can do. So yeah, look forward to Marco
Awesome.
joining us. So that'll be really good. So hey, Marco, thanks for joining us as well.
Absolutely.
Um, we've got Bernie saying, "Hey, Cam." So not hey to us. Hey Bernie, you can say hey to us too. And but he's not watching, so hey, I thought I'd say it out loud. And yeah, we'll get into some of the other comments in a bit. I think let's talk about and let's go to this view and just look at the match stats on this for a second, Mando. This is an incredible set of numbers. Expected goals away from home, 4.6 xg. I mean, 24 shots, 12 on target, 9 big chances, 5 scored. It's
Yeah,
just
that's an absolute
insane.
paddling.
It is a
We,
paddling.
we were in control. It was a very, for the first half and even the majority of the second half, it was just very controlled. It was very professional. And we were just dominating the ball, controlling the ball. The defense looked like they were in good shape, good position the entire time. Honestly, every time we had the ball and we broke, Tottenham just looked lost. They didn't have a shape. I know that they have some makeshift defense right now. They have a lot of injuries, but that played into our hands, and we didn't really put a foot wrong going forward. And yeah, 9 big chances, 6 goals, but we could have easily had more.
Absolutely. No problem at all, Bernie. Hey to you too. So where should we start? Where should we start? We start with Luis Diaz, I guess.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, and Cam said earlier the Luis Diaz revenge mission is completed. Obviously, he's going back to last year with the disallowed goal, with the
Right.
Curtis sending off. You know, if we just roll back to November last year, I think it was November. I remember coming out of that game absolutely devastated, Mando. Like injustice had happened, and like it's one of those things in football. There's a few moments or a few times this has happened to me. One was the VVD knee injury
Injury.
against Everton, right? Where it took me 2 weeks to get over it. I'm not joking. Like I know it's silly, but it just felt wrong. That one as well just felt really, really bad. So this feels extra sweet today to beat these guys 6-3 in that stadium, in their home stadium. Like you said, a paddling, like Dan Kennett would say, a shellacking.
Yeah.
And, it just feels great, mate, after that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the injustice. Last year I think that left a sour taste in a lot of our mouths. However, Spurs for me, playing Spurs never really makes me feel nervous or feel like I don't know. I just don't. I'm not. I don't concern myself with Spurs too much. I think we go in there and we do a job. Even last season, even though we got robbed or what have you, and there was a disallowed goal, and it did cost us in the long run. Even that, I mean, yeah, it was an injustice, but it wasn't something that I was upset with Spurs about. Like, it wasn't a Spurs
Yeah, it
situation;
was
it
a
was
ref.
more like
It was a ref.
officiating situation, right?
Yeah.
We beat Spurs in the Champions League final in Madrid. Every time I see Spurs, I don't really have any dread. It's just kind of like, okay, Spurs, and typically it's a pretty fun match. Honestly, I think the most boring match in recent memory has been that Champions League final against
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But that goes to nerves and everybody just trying to make sure that they're concentrated and then keeping their shape and playing defense, and that makes sense. But typically we go to Spurs or they come to Anfield and it's pretty wide open, and today was pretty much the same. It was pretty free flowing. We did with them what we wanted. We did play with our food a little bit, but that happens. When you have nine big chances, it's unlikely you're going to score them all.
My God. I mean, that first goal, if we do start there, Trent, a wizard with those passes today. Um,
Absolutely.
what a cross, because he's been under some fire lately. Just I don't know. He has ups and then he has downs, and then people get on his back. But today, imperious at times. I know he was getting a bit leggy towards the end, but that was I call it garbage time. The goals, conceding the goals. It's like
Sure.
Darth would say, or the UP boys would say, the game was over, 5-1. It was done. It
Yeah.
was never going to get back to 5-5 or 5-4. It just wasn't. But yeah, I thought Trent had an imperious game again today. It was just on the ball. Like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking about that goal, he took what, three defenders out with just one ball. Luis Diaz had nothing to do but to just steer it into that corner. It was beautiful. It was beautiful, and the celebration I thought was apropos. I mean, Luis shining his shoes afterwards I thought that was good. I mean, it deserved it. All the work was done by Trent. Trent is a phenomenal player. He's generational, right? And he's won the lot. He's done everything. And yeah, he has his ups and downs, and he's inconsistent sometimes, but he's still a young player. I think people forget that he's still a young man. Um, and in this team, it's the beauty of it in this team too is he doesn't have to do it all. He's a superstar without having all that pressure on him. He can play with that freedom. He has defense behind him, whether it's Gomez, whether it's Konate, whether it's Van Dijk. It allows him to be the player that he is. And today we saw that. Even in the cup, we saw it against Southampton. That pass, that ambitious pass to Nunez. He just sees things that players don't see, and
No.
he has
Yeah.
the ability to pick out those passes when honestly 95% of humanity could not do that. So
No.
it's incredibly impressive. I know that he gets a bit of stick, and folks are a little bit hard on him at times, even Slot. But I think for Slot, it's not being hard on him. It's just he knows
Oh.
there's more there. There's more there, and to say that at a player of his quality with teams like Madrid coming around and wanting him and things along those lines, it really says a lot about the quality and the talent that he is. And like everyone else, we hope he signs a contract. I hope he signs a contract, right? I hope he stays. But at the end of the day, I think I'm just trying to enjoy Trent Alexander-Arnold as much as I can for as long as I can, whether that's this season, whether that's for the foreseeable future, whether that's for long term. I just am happy he's a Red. I'm happy he's a local kid and he's doing what he has to do, and does it in such a manner that is just so incredibly impressive. Another thing on Trent is, a few, maybe this week, maybe a few weeks ago, he was interviewed and they talked about the contract situation, and he said, "Hey, I've signed a few deals here, and it's not going to play out in public, and this one isn't either." And I think that speaks a lot to him as well. He doesn't want to make this a circus. He doesn't want to make this something that it's not. Football is a business, and everybody has to make decisions on their own for what's best for them and their family and their ambitions. But I can appreciate the fact that he's not using the media to try to, uh, make it a bigger thing than it is. Unfortunately, we're in the position we are with the past regime and in how we're with these contracts. But luckily for us, these guys are professionals and they've proven to be absolutely top-notch professionals, and it hasn't affected us in any way. I mean, to be where we are in the league and to be playing in the way that we are and the quality that all three of these players are exhibiting on a consistent week in and week out basis, you could tell there's no distractions. It's kind of just something that's out and about. It's an elephant in the room, but even then, you see the team, it's kind of lighthearted. I mean, you hear today, you see the interview with Jota, and they're talking about what you would get for Trent for Christmas, and he said a pen. So all those things, it just shows the unity in this team. It shows that there's they all have egos and stuff, but they all want what's best for the team. And I think long term, we all want them to be there. The players want them to be there. The coaching staff wants them to be there. But I'm just happy to watch it unfold and then watch these guys play football on a week in, week out basis. We're really lucky in this period.
Yep, I think Damo is echoing what you just said about as well. It's not just the execution, it's the vision to see it in the first place. Marco put something up. I may be the only one, but don't feel like the scoreline reflects the actual dominance adequately. Some poor goals conceded, some unlucky goals not scored. 9 big chances, like we said, literally they could have scored all of them. I think it could have been 9-10 today. There was a couple of good saves in there as well. Trent had that long ranger, it was pretty good. There was a few times in the box where they were just clearing, like even the first half. Mo hit the bar. That bit of skill, it was awesome. I mean, let's move on to the second goal. We got quite a few goals to go here.
Mando. I know.
Again, the Maka one. I need to try and remember back because now there's too many to remember exactly. The cross was from Robbo for the second one, wasn't it? Because it was Robbo actually put in a nice dinked ball in, and Zabozlai trying to go for a header. It falls then to Maka, who runs in and heads it in. A lot of people was saying they didn't see enough of what Maka can bring in that, but this is exactly what he does. He gets into the box at the right time. In most cases, or some cases, in the last month or so, that's 2 goals, right? He scored one against City, maybe a month and a bit now, but City and now one here. Big games, he turns up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a technical player. He's a smart player. He takes up positions. He knows when to make a run. He knows when to sit back. Maka's one of those players that does a lot of work, and sometimes is underappreciated. To your point, however, he steps up in big games, and this is just one of those. I mean, the ball came in. I think Soboslai headed it off his own shoulder and ricocheted a little bit, and then sat up beautifully. But he was just there. He was just there. It's just an innate ability to kind of foresee what's going to happen and to put himself in good positions. And it just shows his football IQ. He's really, really smart guy, really smart player, a team player. I'm very happy to see him get his goal, especially after serving this suspension. Good for Maka. And it really set us off and running.
Yeah, the confidence, great. I mean, and then we obviously Maka then helps us concede a goal. And I mean,
that's where he's a little frustrating, honestly. And I don't know if it's the South American in him, where he's just a little bit more flamboyant and he just wants the foul called on. Even though watching the replay, there was no foul. There was no foul, right? Just get up
and you're not getting
play
it
the
in
game.
this league,
Right?
You might get it in Spain, but you won't get it here.
Get up, get back up, play the ball. But Madison, it was a sweet finish for Madison as well. He's
very smart.
He's a tidy little player. I'm kind of surprised they don't play him more. That he's kind of a rotational piece for Ange. It doesn't really make sense for me because he's always very dangerous. It's him and Kulusevski for me that have really been the best players for them this season, and uh, yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But it's fine as long as I mean, it's fine. It's got nothing to do with us.
Mateus asking, how often do you see a match like that? Both teams go every Tottenham game, dude. I don't know what you're watching, but literally
Exactly.
every single bloody Tottenham game, it's been like that. Gary Neville was saying we should put Tottenham on at 4:30 every Sunday because literally it's just going to be great to watch because they're so bad, but they will go forward and they did. And to be fair to them, they didn't give up, did they? They like even at 5-1, they kept going. To be fair, and the crowd was right behind them as well for that. So I think the semi-final is going to be very interesting. They might want revenge on us for this. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the two legs. I think the way they play at home, there's going to be goals in it for us, but then away, I don't think they're very good away at all. So it's going to be interesting. But then this goal was very nice for Dom Szoboszlai, who, by the way, again, does not get his fair share of plaudits. But today, that was a close for a man of the match performance for him as well. I know there'll be too many, and the people that score the goals are going to get it, or at least be chosen between. But I think he's phenomenal every game off the ball. Let's not say on the ball, I won't lie, but
Sure.
off the ball, he works his arse off. But today he had everything, and the 1-2, the nice flicked header for Mo, and then the run to get it back. Great finish as well.
Yeah, he's a workhorse. He's gonna run everything down. He's gonna press. He's gonna start the press. He's gonna make the runs into the box. He's gonna do all those things. I think it's rare to see a combination of a player that does have the talent that he has. He's inconsistent sometimes on the ball, to your point, but he's one of the sweetest strikers of the ball. When he's right, he whacks it. And he could do what he wants with it. But the most important quality he has is his work rate for the team. It's rare to see that combination of skill and work rate in a player, and we're very fortunate to have him. I know he wasn't starting every match early on, and we gave Curtis a good run, and Curtis is also one of those players who does work. They're slightly different, but this guy runs around like a madman, and he really sets the tempo, and he really sets the table for the team, and that's underappreciated. It's a quality that we're very lucky to have from Soboslai, and to be someone of that. He's a superstar in Hungary. He's a superstar. In the Bundesliga, he was a star, and here he's a quality player. But that's not what's most important because we have so much quality. It's his legs. It's him doing the dirty work, and it just speaks to him and his want to win, honestly.
And I think that's where we overutilized him last year. He played twice a week for like the first 3-4 months, and then he was done. So this year it's been a little bit more rotation with Curtis, like you're saying. Not the same player exactly, but they both bring something and a touch of their own to it. Marco with another great point, helping us out here by bringing the stats out. Mo Salah becomes the first player in Premier League history to reach double figures for goals and assists before Christmas. He's just this guy is a phenom now, and we must talk about him before we get to his goals. We must, because I've run out of things to say about Mo Salah, dude. Like, there's no point in even giving him even more plaudits because there's nothing you can say to that he could to justify the praise.
I don't think there's any stranger in this world that has brought me more joy than Mohamed Salah. So many times.
And dude, we went to New York together once, and we literally went to find his big
mural.
Yeah, the mural, and it was literally the focus of the day. Hey, let's go find the Mo Salah mural in New York City.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's hard to put into words the player that he is and his work rate as well. And this season we see him tracking back quite a bit and doing a little bit more work defensively like the rest of the team does. And I think it's just something that Slot's instilled. But just his consistency. Just his consistency week in and week out. The fact that he doesn't get the credit he deserves from on an international scale, honestly, and from the media and the pundits and what have you, is kind of asinine. For him not to even be on the Ballon d'Or finalists and all this other stuff is just ridiculous. He is arguably the best player in the world. He has been the most consistent player in the world probably for a few years now. We're very lucky to have him, to enjoy it on a weekly basis. The things he does, I mean, just like you said, when he rattled the crossbar, that the footwork, the quick feet, the way to just snap a shot off. It's not the first time we've seen it, and it's just how many people can do that, right? Like, he is what makes us tick over and over and over again. When we need a goal, we know he's going to be there. He's going to be calm. He's going to be composed. And something that I think in the last few seasons, especially this season, that we've seen him do quite a bit more is his ability to pick a pass, to play with his head up a little bit more, has been phenomenal. He's making some passes with the outside of his boot that nobody's really able to do, and he makes it look
Dom tried
so
it at the
easy.
end for Nunes. Dom tried it at
Right,
the end for Nunes,
right.
but it got cleared. You know what? Before we just talk more about Mo, because he gets the goals now in the next part of this, Dom Joel from Damo saying Dom Joel in the team is similar to Ginny's, probably getting a bit more output than Ginny as well, which is great.
Sure.
Now, this one, I'm not sure how you're going to react to this one from Paul Smith. Still not convinced by Sabozlai as a 10. I will still replace him with Cherky.
I don't think Turkey's going to work the way he works.
Nope.
Is he going to press the way he presses? Is he going to
Nope.
do the dirty work off the ball the way he does? Again, no one is denying that Soboslai sometimes with the ball makes a bad decision, and sometimes he can be a little bit sloppy and getting caught on the ball, and those types of things. We get it. We get it. He's not the perfect player. However, in this system, he contributes
Works.
what we need more than anything, and that is just legs. And that is
Yeah.
his ability to press selfishly. And even today, I mean, with the flick on to Mo, then to make the run and get the ball back and then calmly finish and slot that between Forster's legs, he has the ability. He's a smart player. A little bit more consistency on the ball. Sure, we could all hope that comes in time. But he's also a young man. He's also a relatively young player, and I think
Yeah.
they all have a lot of room for growth. And that is the most exciting thing: is to be where we are, to be ticking over the way we have been, but just to have so much youth still, so many players that are entering their prime and will continue to improve, and then under over time to continue to improve and be molded into what Slot wants. I think it's very bright, and he's just another player that I think is only going to get better. So would I be happy to take Shirky? Sure, but I don't think that he's the solution, or that Dom is the problem, if you will. I think it would just be a surplus, and it would be a rotation, and it would be keeping legs fresh and having talent. You can never stockpile enough talent.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, he sticking with him, he then gets an assist for the Mo Salah tap in next, wasn't
Hmm.
it, to make it 4-1. So I mean, I thought again the football here was fantastic by all. I think was it Gakpo that plays the pass um to
I
I can't
believe
remember
so. Yeah, I believe so.
to Dom, and he takes the touch from Dom to take it past the defender and get in and then square it. Oof, like that was beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I mean, a tap in for Mo, and then I mean, I wasn't impressed with Gakpo in this game, to be honest. Mando, I was actually very frustrated by him. So many times he just ballsed up possession and really slowed us down at times. I don't know what your thoughts were on him, but obviously he contributes to the next goal, which we're going to get to in a sec. But he always does that once I diss him in
I,
Discord.
th-
He does something
I, th- I think
positive.
I think Cody is obviously a very good player, a very smart player.
Hmm.
I think today wasn't his best
We
match
didn't
for
need
us.
him. We didn't even need him.
Right, it wasn't his best match for him, but I do think we're getting the best out of him this season. I think
Yes.
Slot playing him on the left regularly, like he does for the Dutch national team, has really um, shown his quality and shown his comfort, and he's able to have that confidence and do what he does, cut it in on the right. He's always looking for a pass. Again, another player that it will work defensively and track back, especially with Robbo being a little bit older and
Hmm.
losing a step. It's very important that the person playing on the left is willing to track back and assist there on defense. Yeah, today wasn't his best game, but I'm very happy with what I've seen from Cody this season. I think he's really coming to his own and really getting comfortable with this team. And the thing about the attack, for us is that they're all on the same wavelength. For the most part, they're all very much uh, in sync, and we see that. And I say a front four because Dom is kind of like a shadow striker. He's always playing as a 10, but it's more like a 9.5. Like he's always
Yeah.
playing right behind, right off the shoulder. And and he's just in sync. Him and Mo are in sync. Diaz is always making the runs. They're always know where he's going to be or try to pick him out. I mean, um, we see some of these one-time passes that these guys are making to just set Diaz off into space because they just know he's got the pace and he's going to get there. And it's the same in the inverse, right? To get Mo on the break. And it's just one-time passes, and it's just because they're so drilled and so in tune with one another. We don't need to have 5, 6 players in the box or making runs because these front four is just so fluid and they're just so in tune, and it allows us to keep our shape and play a much more stable game.
And the final goal is exactly that, right? The running and the passing from Mo, the
Yeah,
running from Diaz, perfection. Like, what a finish as well, though. Like, that is I mean, I know we skipped the Mo one, but there's a tap in and Gakpo getting
yeah,
the
right.
in. But the finish for Diaz for the sixth is just
He's really
sensational.
come on this season, right? I mean,
Yeah,
last season it was a lot of wasted final ball and a lot of like no end product. And I know that there was a lot of frustration in the fan base about it because he was getting himself in good positions and he works for the team, and he will. But this season he's picking the pass, he's playing with his head up a little more. We're seeing the goals that we saw in Portugal when he played, and that he gets for the national team as well for Colombia. He's such a pivotal piece. But this season he's really coming into his own, and he's really cemented his place in this team as like one of the first names on that team sheet. And
work
availability is
ethic as well,
important,
right?
right?
Work
And
ethic is just
yeah,
nuts, and he's been in a bit of a lull for 2 months. But that first goal changed his game today, right? He
sure.
just went, whoo, confidence, bang.
I don't think that he's been contributing so much. Like you said, he has been in a little bit of a lull, but I think even off the ball, he does so much.
Hmm.
And he works so much, and he presses from the front, and he's chasing the ball down, and all those things are important. And the way he dribbles and gets by players, and he's just such an exciting player.
So
So
exciting.
I think to see him finally start converting his chances and finally being consistent, I
Yeah.
think we always knew he had it in him. But to find that consistency, to find that level of comfort and that confidence has just been something that we've benefited from tremendously.
Well, someone who doesn't want to, he's like a dog with a bone at the moment, is Paul Smith. I don't give a F. By the way, no need for the language. Uh, uh, Dom will be ineffective against teams that, you know what? Maybe you don't give a F, so we won't give a F about your opinions anymore and not share your comments anymore, dude. Because, hey, no need. No need. So, yeah, we don't give a F about you either then.
I
Just be
mean,
nice. Hey,
it's
no
kind
need.
of
We're passionate. We're all
it's
passionate. But if you want Dom to, cut a rant on you because you don't know this guy, he will, and
goal,
you'll be dead.
goal and assist, 6 goals, 9 big chances. Dom being pivotal in that, and we want to pick that performance apart is just. I mean, it's your opinion, man, but it doesn't. I'm going to tell you you're wrong. You're just wrong. Like it's just you're picking at the wrong things here. We are in a good place. He's a player that's important to the team, and he's going to do the work that we need him to do. Is he flashy or fancy, or is he, you know, whatever you're looking for here? I think sometimes as fans, we just want a shiny new toy, and we kind of overlook the quality that we have in the team. And he is an important piece of this team. And you know,
Very
now is not
important.
the time to be talking poorly about this performance, especially his performance when he kind of had us ticking over today. He was doing everything and more, and even more than we usually ask from him. That finish for him between Forster's legs was cool. It was calm. It was just so calculated. The flick on, we're getting to the second balls, and then he's making the runs, making himself available. All those things are just things that it's not
His
things that you can
pace,
teach.
dude.
Yeah,
His
he's
pace, like,
just he's just a very well-rounded player. And can he
yeah.
improve? They all can improve. No one is saying that any of these guys are perfect. They can all improve. Maybe Mo, but they can all improve. Um, and so I get it. I get that you could be frustrated with his performances sometimes. I think we all are. But to sit here after this performance and try to tear him down is a bit stupid.
Yeah, there's before we go on to the next point, I think Damo agreeing with you about Diaz loves it when he's running free, herding tackles, slaloming through defenders, bearing down on goal. Thanks, Damo. There's nearly 900 of you, 900 of you watching live. Most of you on Twitter. Come over to YouTube and give us a like and a subscribe. We'd love you to like the video. That's going to really help us, folks. So come and like and subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to get this channel going. It'd be really nice. We do appreciate you watching on Twitter. Absolutely. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. But come and join us over on YouTube, please. That's where we want you to join us and help us. So much content coming, so much going forward in this season. And it's one of the most exciting seasons at this moment that we could remember, maybe for 5 years, because that one was a real good one when we won it.
It
But
was.
it got cut a little bit short. And it got cut short when both of us were watching a game against Atletico Madrid. And Mando was over to watch the game, and he almost got stuck in England because all the
Yeah,
flights were getting cancelled for COVID.
the
And
world
so,
stopped that day. I remember. I'm never gonna forget it.
no,
But
it was nuts. The world stopped. We've got something from Marco again before we go back, because there's another player I want you to talk about. Speaking of Mo again from Twitter, Mo has accumulated more XG against Spurs than Haaland has in his last 6 matches. Wow. Haaland is on a wow, amazing. And Alan Roderick says, we're the only team who can stop us now. Keep the comments coming in. If you've got any questions as well for Mando and me, we'll be happy to answer them as we get into the second half of this show. One player we haven't touched on today, but I was really impressed with, especially first half and maybe some of the start of the second, is Ryan Gravenberch, who was just gliding around the pitch at times today, turning, running. That's where I was getting really frustrated with Cody, because he was finding Cody, and Cody was just like stopping these excellent like 4 or 5 against threes and stuff, and just slowing us down when he'd literally just gone past 2 or 3 players to get us there. What are your thoughts on Ryan? It'd be nice to hear what your thoughts are, because obviously last year nobody was impressed with him at all.
I think he's a really smart player. We saw him switch the ball a few times and give us some space to run and to maraud forward. His passing is good. I think it's the positions he takes up. Honestly, he knows when players go, he covers those spots. He's always in the right position. The way he uses his body, the way he turns, it's really impressive. It's quite elegant, honestly.
So elegant.
He's a
So
player,
elegant.
I think, that last year he was written off a little bit. But if we really think about it, he hadn't played a ton of football for quite some time. Bayern wasn't really using him. The Tuchel, the terrorist, wasn't really fond of him. And he just didn't fit the role for him, and that's fine. And one man's trash is another man's treasure, if you will.
Yeah.
When he was at Ajax, though, he was one of the most exciting young players in the world. He had a goal in him. He can drive. He can maraud and go through midfield. He could pick a pass. He was just just such a good midfielder, box to box for Ajax. Now his role's changed a little bit for us. We don't really need goals from him and to do those things, but he is kind of the glue in that midfield. He allows the qualities of the other midfielders to shine because, Maka is an attacking midfielder, Soboslai is an attacking midfielder, Curtis Jones is well-rounded, but he's mainly an attacking midfielder. And he is the one piece that really has solidified that midfield and really made the number 6 position his own. I know we were all excited, or when the news broke that we were going to get Zubamendi and he had agreed, or this, that, and the third, or we were in for that. I think he's really shown that we didn't need that. Do we need additional reinforcement in midfield? Sure. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't want another number 6, and I don't want, especially if we're not going to use Endo the way that we probably should rotate him a little bit more, because he's also showed his professionalism and his quality. Last year, he was vital to our team.
Yeah.
But if we're not going to use him, if Slot doesn't trust him for whatever reason, then that's fine. Go and get another midfielder because we're Gravenberg is we're one injury away, or he's gonna need to be rotated. He's human. I know he's playing like a
Completely agree.
machine, but he's human, and he's gonna get leggy, and we need to make sure that we take care of him because he is very, very integral to this team.
Completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. Marco has given us something from Sky as well. Today was clear we deserved the win from Honest Slot. A very good performance for large parts of the game, except for 15, 20 minutes. We thought we didn't have to run anymore.
I knew he wasn't gonna be happy. I love
Yeah,
that man.
he's so good. He's, he's too good like that, isn't he, Slot? He just knows he can praise you enough, but then he's going to pull it back out and say, but reminds me very much of Rafa when these
Sure.
bits come out of him, because Rafa was always hard on the team. But yeah, this guy, man, this guy, he's turned things. I mean, I wouldn't say turn things around. He's just started on fire,
He's just
and
made it his own, in a
yeah,
way that no one expected him to do it so quickly, and the players have clearly bought in. Um, Tactically, he's just so smart. He's just so smart. The way that we make changes on the fly, the way that we use our subs earlier than we had in the past, and they really make a difference, and it changes the way that we approach the games, and you see it in real time. It's something that I think is really refreshing because we haven't had that in a while. Klopp would make subs, but it wasn't kind of like it was a lot of like for like, or it was a lot of like, okay, well, people would be clamoring for subs, clamoring for a change, and then they wouldn't come until it was too late. This is different. This is a guy that is everything is well thought out. Everything is so uh, strategic and so tactical. It just makes a lot of sense when you watch it, and it's
yeah.
it's it's really something that's a good change of pace. And just to see everybody buy in and to see him hit the ground running has been something that I don't think we really expected, but something that has been a breath of fresh air, and that a breath of fresh air that I think we didn't really believe that we needed.
Mm-mm. No, we were all dreading life without Klopp. We were. Let's not be every single Liverpool fan. I don't think there'll be one that would have said this is going to get better next year.
Right.
Nobody. 4 points clear with a game in hand, and I think Damo's put it right here. Putting the perfect imperfectionist is what he is at the end of the day, and I think that's what it's needed sometimes with players with the egos and with they need to be challenged. That's
Yeah.
how leadership works. You got to if you have capable people and you know that they can do better, then how do you make a capable person who's might not take orders? How are you going to make them better? It's by challenging them, you
And
know?
he is improving these guys. I mean,
Yeah,
Curtis Jones is a better player this
yeah.
season than last season. Dominic Zoboslai is a better player this season than last season. Um, Joe Gomez was a player that was out the door in the summer. And Joe
So good
Gomez,
today. So good today, dude.
I don't think he
Ooh,
gets his flowers enough. But Joe Gomez is a player, honestly, that for the past decade, when you need him, wherever you need him, he's ready and he puts in a performance. Uh,
mm,
you know, I think last season we played him a bit uh, in the six role, and he did that. And we'll play him on either flank, and he does that defensively. We'll play him a fullback at either side, and the center back is his natural position. But um, just to see him get the credit that he deserves this season, and to see him thrive consistently again, I can't say enough good things about Joe Gomez.
no, me neither. Over 1,000 of you now watching over on Twitter and on YouTube, mostly on Twitter. Can you guys come over to YouTube and give us a like, please? Come and like and subscribe. I'm going to keep doing this, man. You're going to get annoyed with me, but we
It's
have to
fine.
do it. It's the YouTube thing. We have plenty of podcasts as well, nearly 75 per month free. AnfieldIndex.com/podcast. If you want to pay for the pro service, no adverts on there, full shows, AnfieldIndex.com/join. And also, if you want to join a community on Discord, loads of us in there. Every match day, we are like literally talking the match the whole time the match is on. I'm in there doing commentary. That's AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. My God, a lot of forward slashes going on. But anyway, finally, what else is there? Top of the league at Christmas, Mando. Any other performances in that from that game today that you think we haven't covered off just yet? That you would like to talk about Verge, maybe?
I mean, Virgil is just calmness personified. It's I think him and Slot are such a good combo, because they're kind of on the same wavelength. They kind of have the same demeanor. It's a
Yeah.
confidence, but it's not an arrogance. They know what they're doing. They're calm, and then they know. And then they're willing to give you a tongue lashing when you need it. I mean, they're very vocal when it's necessary, but not in a extra animated way. I just think Virgil van Dijk is just, as he goes, we go, especially in defense, and that has helped tremendously. I think of the transition with Slot coming in is the fact that they have this understanding. They both kind of approach the game in the same type of way. So I don't have. I mean, honestly, Virgil's Virgil. I think Andy Robertson sometimes is getting up there in age, and that's somewhere we need to address. But I didn't think he was too bad today, especially under the circumstances. Kulusevski is just such a good player. He's so smart. He's
He was
physical. Um,
excellent, man. Like what I loved about him, just like we said, it was actually not Spurs not giving up. It was Kulusevski not giving up today. It felt
right.
like he
Yeah,
was just
he's their best player. He
yeah.
has been this season. I think he's just been their most consistent. I think he scored five in his last five, uh, and he was dangerous today again. And I was surprised that it was Robbo. I was expecting Simicus, but obviously he's hasn't had a lot of game time, so we got to bet him back in slowly.
Might be playing
But
on Thursday night, Boxing Day. He'll probably be playing. Yeah,
But honestly, I think Robbo did enough. You know what I mean? I think he did enough. He put him off enough. It was always going to be a challenge against a player of that quality and of that size. Kulusevski's got some good size on him. He's got some good strength. But I thought he did well. Allison Becker, I thought he could have done better today, honestly, in some of the
yeah,
goals.
yeah,
But again, he hasn't had a lot of game time recently either, and it's good to see him back. We know he's arguably the best goalkeeper in the world, so it's good to see him back. He did make some passes today that were pretty impressive. I think he almost had an assist today, on a
Was it?
on a
What was
long ball.
Oh, okay. The is it the Lucha one?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But Allison is great, world class. I thought all in all, I mean, I can't complain about the performance. I think the team did a phenomenal job today.
So, who's your man of the match then? Finishing off on the game before we talk something else about.
Paul's not going to like this, but it was probably Dom Soboslai, honestly. Um, and it's just he did everything today. He was everywhere. Like I said, I'm very impressed when I see somebody pressing so high up the field and running, chasing down the ball. The ball gets played back to the goalkeeper, and he's just pressing it like a madman. Winning the second balls, flicking the ball, scoring a goal, a well-deserved goal. I thought he was just everything and set the tempo for the game early on, and he was my man of the match. He was consistent all game. I mean, it's easy to say Mo, and he had 2 goals, 2 assists. It's easy to say Luis Diaz. It's easy to
Yeah.
say all these things, right? But I think Dom was probably my man of the match.
Yeah, and you know what? Normally I do have a separate one. I mean, Mo is the. I think if you really talk about the man of the match, it's going to be Mo just because of the 2 goals, 2 assists. That's like
Sure.
game changing, right? It affected four goal contributions and a 6-3 is basically the match winner, right?
Yeah, no,
But
I get it.
yeah, but I think I want to agree with you for Dom just because he doesn't get the love, and he deserves a lot more. And when a player ends up stepping up, or starts to step up, or steps up in a certain game, then we should give him the flowers, man. Give him the flowers, and
I
I
agree.
think that's where, and we need it. We need it. Like everybody keeps saying, we're way over reliant on Mo Salah, but yet we have like Max scoring a couple of games in a month each or whatever. We've had Curtis scoring, we've had Dom scoring now. Southampton here, away games, big ones. We've had now Diaz is back scoring goals. Gakpo's been like before this game, it was like 8 goals or assists in 11. Like that's a lot. That's doing really well for him. So we do have players that are actually contributing here. I know, yes, it is a little bit of a one-man show. Let's not lie about it, but there are people contributing. Definitely, Trent's back in the assists. He was away at Newcastle, has been away here as well. So again, there's lots of people contributing. We should be really proud of how the team's playing. We've had a bit of a blip. We should have maybe won those 2 games that we drew. In all honesty, even the one we played with 10 men, even the one Newcastle, Kelleher let us down a little bit. But hey,
Sure.
we should be literally 8 points clear with a game in hand right now over Chelsea. But that's not what it is. It's still 4 points clear with a game in hand, which is still very good. And I don't know. What do you think about Chelsea? I mean, do you think that draw today was really good for us. But I mean, was good in a different way though. That they're not that there was a bit of invincibility type of coming with 7 wins in a row. You were thinking, oh, could they literally just ride this wave or this perfect storm and go like 15, 20 games of win streak? Because then you do win titles when you get that type of win streak going. But
Yeah, I
they've
think
dropped points here,
Chelsea.
which is great.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we want all these guys to drop points
Yeah.
all the time. But Chelsea, I think, to your point, they've been playing very well. They have depth. They have a lot of players in a lot of positions, which has been a running joke for the last couple seasons and whatever Bowley's been doing and what have you, right? They have the luxury of they're not playing in an elite European competition. Right. I
No.
know it's weird to sound like it's not a luxury because that's where you want to be. But however, it allows them to play a C team in Kazakhstan and fucking whatever, right? Pardon my
Well,
language.
actually, as you say that, this week we were able to do it in the caravan. Look at this performance.
Right. Well, yeah, exactly. So it does allow them to stay fresh. Caicedo's really grown into his own there. Labia is playing well. Enzo Fernandez also playing very well.
Yeah.
Today wasn't really their day. Cole Palmer was a little bit off from about 45 minutes that I saw of that match. His passes were a little heavy. But they are a little bit over reliant on him, right? So as he goes, they go. And
So
when he
on a
has a
day,
performance like he did today,
and I like
they
that
didn't get a
point
result.
because I want to ask you another thing. So on a day where one of our friends, Jonathan Northcroft, did put something out there saying, "Hey, you know, Cole Palmer is the best player of 2024," and there wasn't another player in sight, but you can see that you know that team is so reliant on him, but he doesn't do it every game. And
No.
if you mark him, he's stuck. But whereas today, Jed Spence, I thought had a fantastic game against Mo, right? The fullback for
Mhm.
Spurs, he was really good. Yet Mo still scored 2 and assisted 2. And players can play great against Mo, but he still finds a way to absolutely destroy teams. So you can have a great game, but Mo Salah is on another level. So I do disagree a little bit with Jonathan, who's great. Like, love him to bits, Jonathan Northcroft. Really helped AI out a lot in the past. So, but I have to hard disagree that Mo Salah is the player, you know?
I think this just goes back to how underappreciated Mo can be. And it might just be because he's so consistent and he's been doing it for so long
Mm.
that it's just kind of boring. It's just kind of run of the mill.
Yeah.
And, Cole Palmer's just the hot flavor of the month or what have you. And that
English,
happens.
English flavor of the month. That's
Sure,
the problem.
sure. That's true. There is a bias. However, Cole Palmer is a tidy player. He's a phenomenal talent.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
they are overly reliant on him. And I do think that he's going to have inconsistencies because he's young. He's still a very young player. And when you're young and you have all that pressure, uh, sometimes you're going to falter. And that's part of the game. So we just have to stay consistent. We just have to stay professional. And I think that we should be able to continue to get our results. Earlier there was a comment about Liverpool is the only team that could beat Liverpool is Liverpool. It's the only team
Yeah,
that could stop. And I fully agree with that. I think sometimes in the past and even sometimes this year we play down to the quality of the opposition, and we don't really aren't up for every match. I really am starting to see that change a little bit. The Fulham match is a great testament to that. I mean, to play the way we did and control that game with 10 men and then to get the result and even being lucky to not get more than just a point there, it says a lot about our growth as a team and says a lot about the maturity in this team. And I think that's going to be very important down the stretch is the maturity, the professionalism, and the experiences of coming up short so many seasons in the past for a large bulk of this team. I think the drive is really there for us to want to see this out, and we just have to continue to get our results.
I completely agree with you. We have our watch along host, Jack, saying, "Get in, lads. What a result. Dom was a machine. He was today. Best I've seen him play. More of that, please." I think we'd agree that's one of his best performances in a red shirt. Yeah, Liverpool overall. This is a fun time, Mando, and it's beginning to look a slot like Christmas at the top of the
Yeah.
league. You've got to use it
Yeah.
somewhere. But yeah, I mean, is there the three things that are hanging over our heads at the moment are the contracts, right? So
Yeah.
we have to talk about them because we don't get you on Anfield Index very often. So we might as well get your views on maybe what do you think could happen or what you hope to happen. I mean, the hope is obviously all three sign, right? But if you had to put your hand on your heart, what do you think will happen?
I think Mo signs. I
Yeah,
think we keep Mo. Maybe 2 years with an option or something like that. But I think Mo
yeah,
stays. I think there's just too much. We he's just too important to this team.
yeah.
His output and his leadership and his talent and everything else, his consistency. He's always available. He's not a player that's injured often. He is a must. Virgil, I think, stays as well. Everything's been pretty quiet there. He loves the team, the club captain. I think he stays as well. Trent is one that I think is a little bit more of a wild card. It just depends on personal ambition, what he wants to do. He can go anywhere and do whatever he wants at this age and at his quality. Do I think he stays? I do. I think we retain all three,
Wow.
but I am not. I am less sure of Trent.
Yeah, I think
You know,
everybody feels the same as you now. I
but
think, yeah,
I also think that these guys don't really owe us anything. They've given us everything, and we've won the lot with them. And they also deserve the opportunity to do what's best for themselves and their family. And if they want to explore other things, other countries, other challenges, I think that we should all respect that as well. And just for me, it's just really enjoying this season, enjoying what we have in front of us. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to find out if they're staying or not staying. I mean, they're going to be able to speak to other
I think
clubs
nine
in a
days,
week or so. So
9 days. Yeah, we're
I
gonna
think
find out before
we're going
January
to
the
start
first.
finding out here pretty quickly. But I'm just trying to enjoy the football. I'm just trying to enjoy what we have while we have it. It's a very fortunate and a very privileged time that we're in, and even with Klopp that we've been in for quite some time. We've been in such a purple patch as Liverpool supporters that I just don't really want to get caught up in the weeds and things that I can't control. I just want to wake up on Saturdays and Sunday mornings and watch my team play good football. And I've been fortunate enough to do that for so many years now. And I would just want to do that this season as well. And just continue to see how much silverware we can bring back and put into the trophy cabinet and keep growing as a club. And I love watching the young players continue to develop and grow. It's not too long ago that Trent was making his debut, and now he's just a superstar in world football. And I think that we have talent in other positions that can do that as well. And we are a little bit spoiled that we have a player in Connor Bradley. Is he Trent Alexander-Arnold? No, he's not. But he's also a phenomenal talent, and he also works his ass off, and he also plays very good football, and he's very smart. And it gives us the luxury to know that even if Trent goes, that we'll probably be okay, honestly. Um, but hopefully all three we retain all three and we continue to grow and we continue to keep the
Is
machine
there
moving.
a bit of an omen with the Dodgers winning the thing
Yeah, you know what? Last time the Dodgers won, Liverpool won the league.
I thought so, because I think we talked about it sometime.
So I mean,
Won the
you know,
MLB, so
hopefully it works out.
yeah.
The Red Sox aren't spending a lot of money this off season, so maybe that's also a good sign that we're working on this instead of that, and that's fine with me. Um, so who knows? But
Yeah, I
again,
wanted to
I'm just
pull that
trying to
one out.
enjoy the football.
I had that in my pocket. I had to get that one out. I was like, this
I'm
will be a
just
good time to use this with Mando. So yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I said, it's very good to get back to. I was a bit concerned. We talked about it on Desi yesterday. So if you haven't listened to the Desi podcast, go and check that Christmas special out. It was yesterday. One of the questions, because it was mainly about us, and we do Christmas specials about us more than Liverpool. But one of the Liverpool stuff was what you feel at the moment, and I made one of the points that while Slot has been the biggest, freshest breath of air, I'm a bit concerned about the current form in the league without Ibu. And the only two league games we'd so far played without Ibu, I think, or maybe two of the major ones, was the last two games where we drew both.
Mhm.
But obviously, context-wise, we should have beaten Fulham, and context-wise, we came back against Newcastle amazingly well in that game. only to be giving away a silly goal, which had nothing to do with really a defender. It was more a goalkeeper thing.
Right.
So I could be setting up a narrative that's incorrect in my head, like in my own head. But yeah, it just seems to be could be a complete coincidence that without EB we've conceded 3-2. Like I don't know, we've conceded so many goals away from home now. I think that's 4, maybe 5 out of 6 away games where we've done 2 or more goals.
Yeah, this season's kind of odd too because we've been capitalizing more with other teams dropping points.
Mm,
In the past, team would drop points that we were in and around, and we would go ahead and drop points and not capitalize on that. I think there's a few times here where we have, but under tough circumstances like the Fulham situation, or even Newcastle. That was just an ugly game, but we were in it the whole time, and we should have won the game.
yeah.
But I think the performances, for the most part, have been there. You're going to have those spells and those dips in form, and especially during this holiday period, you're playing so much football. I think the rescheduling of the Everton match has been a benefit for us because we did get a little bit of time off, and it hasn't cost us much because for the
No,
most
but
part, the
they've
teams
drawn
around
against
us.
Arsenal and Chelsea.
Yeah,
Vince.
I mean, yeah. So everybody thinks that match would have been a gimme or what have you, but Everton is
No,
always tough, and we haven't always played very well against them.
no.
A derby is always going to be a challenge, but I think that for us, it's been beneficial to have that time off. They've gotten some results that they've needed because obviously they're still not clear. They're in a scrap like they're always in a scrap, but that plays to our benefit, right? So today they really hunkered down and played a tough game against Chelsea. They probably could have won. They missed a couple sitters against Chelsea. Jack Harrison missed one, and they had a couple other chances. But that's how the game goes. I'm just happy that we were able again to capitalize in a way that we haven't been consistently in the past.
Yeah, and we've got back to the where we should have been. I mean, last week we last time we drew and they won, and now they've drawn and we've won, and we're back to where we were without the
Mhm.
game. So great to be back in status quo and top of the league. Mando, this has been awesome to have you on the Gags Tandon show on YouTube. It's great to have you back on AI. Whenever you want to come back, you just say the word, bro, and you'll be on. So really, really loved having you on and chatting about Liverpool this season and this game, this special game in particular, where we had 9 bloody goals.
Yeah, it was fun one to talk about and fun one to watch and prep for. And thank you so much, Gags, for the opportunity to join you. And I'm sure we'll do it again. As always, man, you know that I'm always here for you and for the channel and whatever you guys need. And it's just great to talk about a good team and to talk after a win, to be honest with you.
Absolutely, mate. Appreciate it. Nearly 1,250 of you watching on YouTube and on Twitter. Please, please do come and like this video. Come and subscribe. We're getting some comments here. Excellent guest, Bernie says. Obviously, he is. Thank you, Bernie.
Thanks,
Damo
Brandon.
saying, cheers, guys. Thank you, folks. We really appreciate you as well. I've given all the plugs already, but if you want to follow Mando on, are you on Blue Sky or are you on Twitter? Are you on both?
I am, yeah. Armando Angulo 12 on both.
On both. Yeah, give Mando a follow, folks. He's probably not as active nowadays, but yeah, if he sees the followers coming, he might start to do so. But yeah, appreciate you, Mando. Love you to bits. You're my brother. I appreciate you joining me. I think Marco said gracias as well to you. So yeah, let's get all both of you on at some point. That would be great. Mando and
That
Marco
would be great.
on the same show, Gags Tandon show. We could do a 3. So yeah, thanks again. Thank you all for watching us live. We really appreciate it. Please come and subscribe to the channel and maybe click the notification tick as well. You'll see all the shows coming up. Loads on YouTube happening on Android Index. Come and join us. Mando, thank you again. Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy holidays for those that aren't celebrating Christmas. Hope you have a great festive period. And I'm sure we'll see you. Yes, Thursday night for sure. And I need to get a chat G&G with Grizz in somewhere as well. But yeah, thanks again, Mando. Up the Reds.
Up the Reds.